What in the heck did I do? This was a crazy week. Out of nowhere, the planets aligned, and I am sitting now in our brand new Tesla Model X. This is a bit of a thing in the making. We've been planning this for quite some time, and it just so happened that the planets aligned at the end of this quarter, and everything came together. Now, this spec that I went with is probably a little bit different than what you expected, and I'm happy to explain all of that to you right now. By the way, more than ever, if you're not yet subscribed, I would sincerely appreciate it if you would subscribe and hit that like button to help spread this video. It helps with the algorithm. You already know this stuff. I thank you very much in advance for doing that. So, although you may be surprised, we went with a black on black interior, 6-passenger, and unfortunately the 22-inch wheels. And the reason for all of this, let's go through it one at a time. I continue to see blacked out Model Ys and Model X's everywhere, and I think they look amazing, and that was always going to be my next Tesla, was going to be a black one. We're gonna black it out. Next, the black interior. I am a huge fan of white interior. You know this, and I preach it, and it's not hard to keep up. But if you're going to black out a car, it is a lot easier to make the car look dark from the outside with dark interior. When you put white interior, it lightens up the tint, at least visually from the outside. So you can go with a lighter tint and have a darker appearance. That's why we have black interior. The 6-passenger. So I wanted a 7-passenger. The reason was because you can fold that second row down flat, and it gives you more uses for the back of this car, whether it's hauling stuff or camping in the car. And my wife wanted the 6-passenger, so we compromised and got the 6-passenger. The 6-passenger on a day-to-day basis is super convenient, though. I will say that it is nice to have this channel between the two seats in the back to get to the third row. And because of the way that that's all laid out, the third row is much more comfortable than it is in the 7-passenger. 7-passenger is a 40-60 split, so you cannot fold down the middle seat. Only in the 6-passenger can you have that kind of space unless you fold down an entire seat in the second row on the 7-passenger. It also has hardware 4.0, which is something that was a requirement on if I found a car. It had to have 4.0, so that way I didn't have to worry about having the old generation stuff. There's talk about additional cameras that are going to be needed in the future version of this, but I've already got the expensive, the big stuff already in the car. The board is already there, and of course that radar in the front, which is just going to be a benefit down the road when it's activated with new software. Now for the wheels. I did not want these wheels, and I would not have paid for these wheels. However, Tesla was eager to move some inventory, and they offered to take off the price of the wheels. So that is why I have the 22-inch wheels. These are excessive, and for $5,500, definitely not worth it. Those look fine, but they do not look $5,500 good. And that's really my rub with it. I'm not a big fan of spending money on the upgraded wheels from Tesla, and that's probably why some of you are confused why I have those on this car. But it was because that was the one thing this car had that I was not okay with, and they were able to make things happen. So, end of the quarter, there were some deals. Obviously, Tesla started offering 2 years and 10,000 miles supercharging, which of course I'll use those well before 2 years, but they were also discounting quite a bit. And usually the demo models, and in this case, are the biggest discounts you can get. However, I noticed that they were also discounting inventory cars, brand new cars that are not demos. This car showed up at Tesla's location the day before I bought it. So this car was still wrapped, has not been sitting on a lot anywhere, and I got a really good deal on this. Plus those supercharging miles, of course, and the planets just aligned. I wanted to do this for some time now, and last year, at the end of the year, I almost pulled the trigger. There were some really good deals. I'm glad in hindsight that I didn't, because prices came down quite a bit thereafter. So we actually did pretty good in the end. This car, though, is very expensive. It is stupid expensive, and you are paying for a lot of features you do not need. It is excessive, but that said, the space inside of this car is substantially more comfortable for the occupants. The car rides so much better and so much quieter. At the end of 2020, we test drove a previous generation Model X at Tesla, and I was kind of underwhelmed. It rattled a lot. It really had a lot of road noise. It was pretty comfortable from driving down the road perspective, but it really left a lot to be desired. This car, this refresh is top notch. There's no rattles. Everything feels really sturdy, put together really well, and the materials feel very nice as well. Also visually, it's very nice on the inside. Having this second screen back here is also really nice. The new screen in the front is really nice. And I never thought I would enjoy a tilt screen. I love this tilt screen, and I may have to go back and reconsider putting a tilt screen on my Model Y because I really enjoy that. The instrument cluster in front of me is a good and a bad for me. The reason I say that is because there's a lot of features that you cannot use on this thing. In previous generations, you could change some of the data that was displayed on this screen. Hopefully that's coming in a future update. Now let's talk about the yoke in the room. This yoke, I do not like. And a lot of people say they don't like it at first, and everybody bullies you until you agree that you're going to like it once you get used to it. I still don't like this. I am trying to give it a chance. I will continue to use it for some time, but I am planning to change this out for the round wheel as soon as possible because it's just clumsy. It is unnecessary. The one thing that is nice about it is visually you have a lot better view in front of you. There's nothing else in front of you between you and these screens, which is a nice thing. But other than that, it is completely unnecessary. I hate that the buttons are on there too, and that's going to be the case with the round wheel as well. The turn signals are awkward. I'm trying to get used to getting my thumb at the right spot. The horn is really far away from where your thumb is. It's clunky to say the least, and that's just going to take some getting used to. But the yoke itself, I'm kind of over it already. The screen in the back though is pretty awesome. Really good high definition quality on that screen, and last night I was streaming Disney Plus on that while we were driving around. The boys loved it. It was super quiet back there because of that. So that's a win for everybody. Really like having that, and that you can stream videos while you're driving in the back of this car. That is a major plus for families. Now, if you could take away things like the Falcon doors, the screen in front of you, maybe even this TV back here, and possibly even the air suspension, which would be hard to lose, but you could get this thing at a much better price, closer to the Model Y, this would be the perfect car for so many people. I really think that the space in this is that much better than the Y. It's not really the height, it's not really the length. Those are slightly bigger, but it's the width of this car, and that adds a ton of volume inside of this thing. There's a lot more space for people to be comfortable in this car. I'm a big fan of air suspensions. I am so happy with this one. Even with these big 22-inch wheels and slim tires, this thing rides so smooth. And the other thing that I noticed right away was just how quiet it is in this car. You don't really hear much of any road noise, even at 80 miles an hour. And at 80 miles an hour, this thing floats like a Cadillac. It is just so smooth, and the seats are comfortable. Cooled seats, by the way, which is a huge plus down here in Florida, especially if you have a black car. But that's kind of the situation. I wanted to give you guys just a quick update of what we did, why we did it, and kind of explain ourselves. I did film quietly the discussion I had with my wife when she found out. Are you mad? I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do right now.
Give it, like, what is this replacing?
So I'll have to look at that and see if that is usable footage, and that may be coming very soon. But I think that she's very happy as well, and she reminded me to remind you, if you're not already, to please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, help us get this video out, help us drive some traffic. We really appreciate it. If you did enjoy this video, of course, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel as we continue to post content regularly. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram @BeardedTesla. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.